Hello, and welcome to my urban garden. I have some somewhat sobering news. On our property, we lost a tree. And that's always very heartbreaking, especially when you purchase a property because it has trees. But we had noticed the past two springs that this tree was very, very sparse in foliage. And we had also noticed that after our annual tree trimming, it seems as if a lot of it just didn't grow back. So the decision was made that it's time for the tree to go. It became increasingly dark around the upper parts of the bark, and we just decided to, little by little, chop off some of the limbs and then eventually chop the tree down. Now, I guess if you want to look on the bright side, when we looked through the trunk of the tree, in the middle of the tree was this rich, dark brown organic material that looked a lot like a loamy soil. So we decided that we were going to save it. It was actually enough to fill a large 5-gallon bucket, and we are going to keep this to amend the soil in our garden. So I do not know what disease or illness the tree had to end up succumbing to. So what I've been doing is keeping that bucket in a very sunny spot and then turning it and mixing it to make sure that any microbes, bacteria, spores that may have infected the tree don't get passed on to someplace else in the garden. I also have added some of the root-bound soil from my container gardens and pots into this mixture, and I'm continually mixing it each day or each time I remember while leaving it in the sun, exposing it to UV light so that any spores or any dangerous or harmful bacteria or disease that may have affected the tree doesn't affect my garden next year when I reuse this soil. Even though it's kind of sad to lose a tree, I've noticed that it does bring a lot more sun into our yard. So I have tarped that area off and also added some leaves, and perhaps we'll wait a year and next year we can plant maybe something fruit bearing. We just added 2 black mission figs, and we have some Celeste figs cuttings that we'll be adding to other parts of the yard. But I think it might be just a good idea to just, once we get the stump grinded down, to just add some more fruit bearing trees that we're looking into. My daughters are all adding, some of them are wanting, things like Caracara orange, or maybe some of the urban environment apple trees or pomegranates that are native here to Zone 8B, Zone 9 here in Texas. But we're going to give it a year to decide what we're going to do with the space. And in the meantime, just enjoy the extra sunlight that our property is now getting. So with this sobering advice, I'm just going to say, when you lose a tree, it can be sad, but it also just might be a new opportunity for your family to come up with something else. It might yield you some organic material that you can use in your garden. We did chop up the logs and turn them into the municipality to be turned to mulch or to be turned to compost, simply because we weren't sure of if the tree was harboring any diseases that might be harmful. We only saved what looked like the soil from the inside of the tree and exposed that to UV light. And that's just an update. Wishing you all the best going forward. I know that spring gardening is right around the corner, so look forward to more videos and more encouragement and more information. Because here at My Urban Garden, we always believe that there's room to grow. See you in the next video.